Yo, so I'm live. I'll post it. I haven't posted in a while. Just spoiled a new card. Accident. Uh, Hanging out in the Goblin's General District. Everybody's talking. Invite people to come. Their ideas. The accident. How do I? For Goblin. There's a couple cool spoilers. There's Rulik Mons, which is one red, green, green, legendary creature Goblin. The 3/3 menace. Whenever it attacks, you look at the top, and if it's a land, you ramp, and if it's not, you put a goblin into play. Um, it's like kind of just a much worse elemental Risen Reef. Oh, and core. Um, so it's kind of just a much worse Risen Reef. Um, this is the card everybody's excited about, so I'm gonna read it last. There's another card, Sprouting Goblin. One red kicker for green. It's a 2/2 ramp spell, basically. For girlfriend is asking. Literally doesn't. Um. So this says when sprouting goblin at battlefield, if it's kicked, you get a land card with a basic land type. So you can put like a Jund land into play. You can put a Bant, anything, any Triome. It's insane, right? It doesn't go into your to play. It goes into your hand, but it's a great mana fixer. I don't think it's going to see play in constructed formats, but it's certainly not bad. Then there's the new Squee that everybody's going crazy about, which we can pull up the real Squee. Like with the card is very good, mostly not for the reason. Like this card is not good in play. It doesn't do good thing about it. That trying to pull up my chat again. Good thing about it is that it has escape. And so it's gonna grind games out. So it's just a 2/2 haste for 3 that when it attacks, you get a 1/1 attacking goblin, but you can escape by paying green or red, exiling 4 of the cards from your graveyard. So it's the first goblin that we can pull back from the graveyard, other than the other squeeze, which you cast. But they don't have haste. And they don't slowly grow your board. So like I think this is the best option as far as the recurring squeeze. So people are pretty excited about that. But the most exciting card is called Rundvelt Boardmaster. Love to get like a mock-up of this card that I can, but the 2 mana lord. So 1 red, other goblins get +1/+1. Notably, it's a 1/1, so it dies to Lava Dart and every finger, and everybody who's like, oh, this is Fury so bad against you, really doesn't. I mean, you get to draw maybe 4 cards off of Fury, and I say draw because they have to do it on their turn. But cast them until the end of your next turn, all of the goblins. But because it's just a 1/1, unless you have multiple other lords, Fury is just as good. It doesn't change. Like, this would have always been a target. They do 1 to this and as much damage as they want to everything else, right? But it is a 2-mana lord that draws cards. Pretty crazy. Speaking of, they said the Merfolk Lord was going to be really good. Let's see if we can find that really quick. I haven't even looked. Merfolk Wizard with Kicker, okay. Phyrexian Folk, pretty cool. Oh, is this just like a play on Deathrite Shaman? Do you make cast target? No. Sort of. Not really. I don't see it. I'm assuming there's going to be like an Emperor Mihail is nice. Mihail. Alright, I don't see it. Yeah. But anyway, Rundvelt is exciting. So we're going to see what happens when we brew around this card. It is a very cool goblin card. I am not sure the implications of it, but I know that there are implications. How's that? So we're going to start with Modern. Pioneer, I think, is going to be easier. Pioneer, I think, is going to be easier. First, let's find a good goblin that stands out from everybody else and has all of the qualities of Rundvelt but is unplayable. Should we go with Hulking Goblin? No, because it's not a 1/1. I want a 1/1 if I can get it. A 1/1 unplayable for 2 mana. Doesn't look like that exists. Which is a little bit surprising. But, okay, that's... Oh, alright. This is close enough, I guess. Goblin Trailblazer. 2/1. Dark Dweller Oracle. I want it to have 2 mana. I want it to cost 2 mana so that when I sort, it's gonna end up in the right spot on my curve. That's why I wanted it to be 2. If I could get it to, you know, cost the same amount, that's great. But okay, so this is a Lord. Gives your goblins +1/+1, and when they die, you get to do like an impulse draw until the end of your turn. So immediately, first thought is either things that sacrifice other things, like Skirk Prospector, or sacrifice themselves, or that come with multiple bodies. Investigator and Mog War Marshal. Oh, you know what? This is just the goblins I own, which is a lot. But maybe there's something that didn't own that cost 2 and 1 unplayable. Bazaar Trader? That's pretty good. What did I take out? Trailblazer? I was assuming Dark Dweller Oracle was not 2 mana because I didn't see it there, but now I understand. Goblin Glider, maybe, blah, 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 blah. I'm, like, trying really hard for pretty much no reason to find. Oh, this is perfect, because banned in every format. All right, so Goblin Recruiter, our stand-in for Rundvelt. Recruiter, Rundvelt, it all works. And maybe what language is that? Rundvelt. That like kind of German? Yes, it would. I would never would have known. Beef skin. That's funny though. Uh, okay. Um, so like immediately this is what you think of playing with it, right? So now we have these 20 goblins. And then we want to see if we can like fit this new combo in to keep ourselves like explosive even without the cheating draws, aggro draws. So we just need key. So many. This is in my maybe. So this is it. This has the full Kiki combo in it already. And let's not worry about the mana base, but let's right, 22 land. Actually, so this is the full combo. And it's just like, I won't say hyper aggro, but dig a lot, you make a lot of mana. Now, if you have Krankos in, as you dig through your deck and you find Kranko on top, you like kind of start storming off, right? Which is pretty interesting. I'm seeing if there's room for Vile Lumberjacks. I'm not sure that you really want Vile. I'm being perfectly honest. Vile doesn't help you cast the cards find off recruit. Rundvelt, Beefskin. Huh. Are there other goblins that like come with many bodies and are vaguely mana neutral and or like, can you cast with Kicker from exile? Yes, is the answer. Let's keep this to modern for now. So not always wanted Spike Shot Elder. This is like one of my favorite cards. I've never effectively. Yeah, so Wily Goblin. There are 4 skirks. Okay, here's the effect again for people who don't know it. Beef skin. It says other goblins get +1/+1. Whenever this or another goblin you control dies, exile the top card of your library. If it's a goblin creature card, meaning Tarfire doesn't work, you can cast that card until the end of your next turn. End of your next turn. Not the next end step, the end of your next turn. Now, this might not be accurate because they haven't spoiled the card yet. Like, this may be a mistake that they would have caught before release. but it's like a it's one of them dirty kitty type cards. So it's pretty good. Pretty good. I'm thinking about Grim Wanderer. I'm thinking about Putrid Goblin. Um. Oh, I think you just obviously want or Battle Cry. So what this Krenko does is it sets up an engine that, like, let's say you find it, it's cheaper than Kiki, and this and just Rundvelt is pretty good. But also, as you dig through your deck with Rundvelt, up with a Krenko on top, you can activate play that haste that can do that. Um, if you wanted to go hyper aggro, certainly do that. Fanatical Firebrand. Is it fake draws a card? Now the thing is, if I was gonna be playing cards like this, and admittedly it's not that different from Mog Fanatic, but if I was gonna be playing cards like this, I would want something that ETBs and does damage to, like, finish the game off. You know what I mean? Like something like Goblin Arsonist. By the way, I am in the Discord, the general channel. If anybody give their opinions, I know most people wanted to join Talk Bodega. Supposed to be worth. But yes, the card definitely gives you the incentive to be low to the ground, which is why I'm playing 8 1-drops and 22 drops and 8 cards that cost more than Goblin. Oh, Pashlik Mons is obviously very good. In fact, Pashlik Mons is like kind of exactly what you want card, isn't it? Sort of a complicated-ish combo. But bigger for sort of a complicated-ish combo, but I mean, I'm already trying to sack goblins to go through my deck. Pashlik Mons card that kind of just makes that happen. Thing Scourger eventually draws a card. Pretty neat. Warren Instigator is wizard shit. God. Fuck too. Wow, that was loud. Thank you, Wizard Shits, for the sub. I appreciate it. Also, your name continues to be great. Wily Goblin, if we're really just trying to churn, should be in here. Let's you know what? While we are brewing like this, maybe this is the time for card view. Probably want another Wily Goblin. Say 20 lands for now. What makes a wizard shit? Wily Goblin comes with a treasure, so it is mana neutral. And you have a Skirk in play. which is like thing. Could go full on aggro haste. I don't think it's good. There's Chieftain, there's War Chief. All right. This is 60 cards. Let's see how this operates. We're going to go to what I think is best like deck creator website out there. Oh, that modern. Make it public. I don't care. File. All right. So 40 creatures, 20. We have a sideboard just because they're maybes. So let's see. You just hit playtest. So now let's just like goldfish happen. So there's no one drops in hand. I would mulligan this. I don't think. I mean, we don't have a Rundvelt and we have no one drops. So this hand is just like a crappy pioneer hand. So let's mulligan. All right, this deck is already not mulligan. Going to 5. We have a 1 drop. All right, we've already fizzled in the first thing. We're going back up to 7. We lost game 1. You could keep this. 20 lands is probably just not enough. Going to 6. 20 lands is probably just not enough. Going to 5. This is not a keepable 5 either, but say you put back. All right, so turn 1 you do this. Draw turn. I guess you'd play Wily Goblin. And where is it? There's a way to like make add token. So now we would untap. We played all of these, then we couldn't cast Harbinger next turn. Alright, this sucked. Let's see if this hand is good. Haven't seen Recruiter yet. So, make these. Now we can sack this. Duplicate, isn't there? Sack this. You get a red mana. I guess you would just play Snoop. There's a way to just like play with your library reveal. Play with top reveal. Okay, so there's nothing on top that's good. Alright, we would just go to the next turn. So there's a butt next. Another mountain on top. I guess you would just get out Krenko. And then like Cohen's innocent. Mountain after mountain after mountain. Alright. So far this deck sucks. Let's try this one. So 19. also a token. This is a shit ton of damage next turn. All right, so here's Rundvelt. Rundvelt doesn't have haste, but we would play Rundvelt. We would stack a token to activate Battlecry Goblin. So this would be 2, 4, 6, 8. 2, 4, 6, 8, 11, then 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 damage. And we would have exiled the top to play it. Doesn't do anything. I mean, it's certainly powerful, but Rundvelt, all it did was act as a lord there, but that's pretty good. I mean, that's why it's doing it. Let's try this one more time before we move on. Something maybe better. So here's a Rundvelt on turn 2. We hit for 2. In no world does that card survive, but then next turn. Well, now we have Krenko Rundvelt. But this is just like a weird bad aggro deck. This didn't really do anything. Right? Like, kind of not see. Like, let's say we were just like, we needed to combo, right? Play Rundvelt, you hit him, sacrifice, exile. We can't even play it this turn. It's an issue. I don't want to be full on the aggro plans, Innocent, because I don't think that aggro is good. You heard the way I said it. I just don't think it's good. I think Rundvelt is good in 8-whack aggro lists, but I would play that deck in Pioneer, not Modern. Alright, so for those who don't know what Rundvelt does, Rundvelt Hordemaster says it's 1 red, it's a 1/1. Other goblins get +1/+1, and whenever this or another goblin you control dies, exile the top card, and if it's a goblin creature card, you can cast it until the next turn. Starfire can't do a lot of things, but it's basically Snoop but impulsy. So like now we would do next turn, we would play this. Guess we'd do this. Play Snoop. Oh, you couldn't even do that. Actually no, you could. Yeah, no, you do this. And you would exile. And I guess you would start cashing in to try to find other stuff. Here we are. We found Harbinger, but I mean, I'm assuming all of these are rainbow lands because I just put 20 mountains into deck. But these would all be tapped. Couldn't pay for this. But next turn they would die. Assuming they had nothing. So now Mogwar Marshal generates a mana and exiles 3 cards. Oh, Kiki Jiki was on top of the library, but upkeep. Interesting. So far the deck doesn't feel good, but there is like a neat component. the deck. Let's assume I played this right and I played out Kirk instead of that. So this brings us up to 4 mana to play Krenko if we want. Or we can just stack 2 things. This. I think we end up this. That's what would have happened. I mean, now you would play Krenko, hope it survived. But like, again, this is kind of weak. So maybe something else. Something else to do. We effectively have 8 lords and we haven't really seen. So like that strong. I mean, it is that strong, but it's not blown my mind because it's not actually better than Snoop comboing. Goblin Instigator is like stores mana for turns afterwards, which is like I'm surprised I haven't seen better hands. I feel like this deck is generating crazy hands. Just hasn't. So I think what you're supposed to do is kind of like store mana. Like store mana or later Rundvelt turn. I think kind of play like the slow goblin game. Actually, no, I wouldn't have played that. I would have. So now this is like probably a Rundvelt. Thank you. I'm trying, Zenith. Like number one, this is a ton of damage, right? 4, 6, 8, 12. But they probably kill Rundvelt, right? But like exactly what I was just going for it. Back the play skirt. Now, this is what I was talking about. So let's see what we've got here. So sacrifice this. Can I like add mana? I know that there's a way. We have 1 red mana. Exiled this. I copy of this. And so then we would play this by this. Style another thing. Play this. Comes with a treasure. Like right click tokens. Like so then I have a Kiki. Mana tracker is not. Sacrifice this. Make a red. Style another. This is tough to do. There's a lot going on. Like, is there a way to win from here? No. Oh, you know what the win is? Oh shit. With a deck like this, the win is El Senor. This is gonna be a great Pioneer deck. Because this says equal to the number of goblins that entered the battlefield under your control this turn. So it doesn't need to... Okay. Let's make a copy. Belt 2. Properties. Pioneer. Done in Modern for now because the Pioneer thing is actually too... Like, Modern, it's going to be decent. Pioneer, it's going to make new things possible. Why don't I own a Hobgoblin Band? I used to. I sold them by accident. Okay, so let's see. Pioneer legal cards that are type Goblin. Krenko is not legal in Pioneer. He is not legal. However, most of these other cards are. I don't know. I don't think Mog Fanatic is, but do have the Firebrand. I think Skirk Prospector is. Where is it? Skirk Prospector is. Dark Dweller Oracle is really just not. Comes with one goblin. Exciting. So if we're just gonna like turbo combo, we want like a way to get haste, I think. You want haste for all of your creatures. But like, I think War Chiefs. Not a lot, but it does like. So Harbinger comes out. So now this is a deck. This is just like already. Well, Mogwar Marshal doesn't exist. Where are my Pioneer Goblins deck? I don't have any. Used to. I know that Loyalist was. I used to know how to spell it. Oh, you know what it is? Not just Legion Loyalist. It's Foundry Denizen. That was a good. Then probably like one less War Chief. Probably no. I think you want these Bandit Lords. Maybe one less Battlecry Goblin because the Rundvelt that costs mana. So we can get Legion Loyalist. All right, this we're gonna try. Well, Vortex deck. Rundvelt Pioneer. What? Gonna work? Probably not. Paint. Now Pioneer's a lot slower. Number of keep. Like, this is good, but we're a deck full of one drop. Try and get some better. Here we'll like. Hit him for 3, 5. Add star. No lands. In case you thought about cutting lands. This isn't good. Foundry Street. Wily Goblin. Firebrand. Or 3. Belt. Hit 2, 5, 7. Down to 9. This isn't lethal. Not bad. I mean, this deck seems incredible. I think this is a pretty solid. So the reason this deck is exciting is because once you get Snoop in play and you have Rundvelt and Skirk Prospector, you get to sacrifice the I would have sacrificed this, would have exiled that. Now I can play this off the top with have this, so we sacrifice. Then makes 2. We could have declared this. Comes with treasure. Exiled Skirk and leave. Attack the treasure. Play Fanatical Firebrand. Whoops. Wait, where's a Fanatical Firebrand? Oh, stack this to play Legion Loyalist. Now sacrifice Loyalist to this. Just like through. And now you have Hobgoblin Bandit Lord, and you just pop them. But you stormed a bunch of goblins into play. This is Pioneer, so we don't have Goblin Bombardment. This version of the, although there could be a modern one, yeah. This is pretty. This is cool. This I like. This I'm gonna try week 1, day 1, maybe. because immediately there's two really strong plans. Snoop is a card draw engine. It's a combo engine. Very cool. This I like a lot. So let's try this out. And like, this is a serviceable hand. Like, do you win the curve out? I don't know, but that was crazy. We have 0 removal other than Hobgoblin Bandit Lord, but we can play Volley Veteran. So here you do this. Turn 2, do this and this. Turn 3. Fortunately, all you do is this. Okay. Now, this is interesting. I mean, it's just a Lord, right? So you just play it out. And now we have, like, the quote-unquote combo. So we would do a whole bunch of damage. Then I guess we would look for a win, because I think they're pretty low now. So, like, here's one. This costs 1 mana. So then we sack Wily Goblin, exile this. Can't cast it. Have a red float. Sacrifice this. 2 red float. This. So now 2 red floating. Play Goblin Instigator. Stack both of them, basically. So 1 red floating. 2 red floating. Do it again. 1 red floating. Red floating. Now we have Snoop that won't have haste until we get the Battlecry Goblin into. But like, this churns like mana neutral. We would do that. Yeah, all right. This is obviously strong. Like, I don't have to do a lot to make this work. I think you do this. Turn, you do this. So here, I would probably play Snoop and Legion Loyalist. Now we're playing with the top revealed. Oh, and now we're like... We actually... So... I mean, this is now insane. So, like... Kirk... Rundvelt... Stack 2 things to exile 2 cards, make 2 mana. This comes into play. Sacrifice it to make a mana. That comes over here. The... Probably sacrifice a Foundry Street Denizen to get this into play. Wily Goblin comes over here. Wily Goblin doesn't get cost reduced, which is annoying. But we would sacrifice, like... Oh, so we're kind of at an impasse here. I would sacrifice the Legion Loyalist to clear the top. And we have a Rundvelt that costs 1 on top. Oh, this is crazy. I don't know if we would... I don't remember if I had actually spent this mana or not. I don't think I did. Sacrifice a Prospector. Oh, you exile 2 every time. About Bergie? No. Just no. Not... Like, I get it. Bergie is. Every time you cast a spell, you add red. But why wouldn't I play War Chief over that? Well, I guess it makes mana for Wily Goblin to be castable. It's just that you can't find it with either of your card draw cards. So, like, it's not really enticing. And it takes away from, like, the whole aggro plan, right? It could go in the board. Or, like, some deck where they're just going to clog up the board and you need to do the storm. Maybe the storm is just more reliable than aggro though. But the storm can't be reliable when the aggro is not reliable, because the aggro's not reliable. It's because they have removal and all your storm cards are like are creatures, right? So like probably not good. But it is a lot of mana. But there's some crazy hands going on. I'm going to do my own piles instead of using these because it hides too much. So let's do this Skirk. Next turn, do this. We're going to play this out. We make a goblin. Next turn. So they're at 19. Play a mountain. So here we're going to play Snoop. Nothing to get off the top. So now next turn. So now this is going to be a crazy turn, even without this Battlecry Goblin on top. So we have a lot of damage. We can Rundvelt. Well, maybe first I pull this off the top. And then I probably pull this off the top. And this comes with a treasure. And then, so now this is on top. So now we sack the treasure and the goblin to put Rundvelt in play. And we clear the top and have one red floating. And then we sacrifice. Well, we would declare that we were casting Wily Goblin, sacrifice this to make a second red mana, so this would get exiled. So now we have this that we could play. This that we could play, a Snoop on top. This is just neutral. So I guess I sacrifice these two. Really that good, is it, to sacrifice Battlecry Goblin? Well, let's do it. We sacrifice these two. We exile 1, 2. We play this. Sacrifice the thing to play this. We sacrifice these two to play this. So 1, 2. They're gone. Comes with another token. We trade this token in to top. We trade this in to pull off the top. Dial this. Sacrifice this to move the top. Still have a Wily Goblin in here that I accidentally put in. I guess we would play this Wily Goblin from the top. It comes with a treasure. Would have cost this. Now exiled. I guess we sack this to move the top. All right, and we finally find this. I think this conspicuous has haste, and we've put like a shit ton of goblins into play, right? So we just pop them. How many goblins did I put into play? This is 11, 12, 13, 14 at least. It's a lot. It's very good. I'm a big fan of this. All right. Let's go. I'm going to be ending the stream obviously this needs tweaking, but that's where's like the fucking. I can't. I guess that's better. I wish it just showed how many I was looking for. So like, I don't even think these are. Is the other version? Uh, like cards in the real maybe board are like Pashlik Mons is a modern master. Fergie's in the maybe board. Whoops. Like um considering. I mean, I like this deck. There's something here. Posted in Pine. Um anyway, I've been in the general chat of our Discord this whole time, so next time you want to join me on these the bounce your ideas off. Um I there's I mean like this already was a functional deck. Fanatical Firebrand, Foundry Street Denizen, Legion Loyalist. I used to run 2 Skirk Prospectors just because I liked how it operated with Battlecry Goblin. But now, like maybe this Wily Goblin sucks. There's something else that should go here. But this felt good. I mean, when you get the contraption in play, recruit Rundvelt and Skirk Prospector, it feels good. All right. Thank you guys for I'm gonna post this one on YouTube, and hopefully you guys bring some comments. We can start getting things like this off the ground. The modern one didn't feel as strong, but modern has a much larger card pool and a much higher bar, and I'm positive that Rundvelt is good enough for modern. I just don't know how to maximize it yet. And this, like, even if this isn't maximized, it's pretty good. It's Pioneer playable for sure. So anyway, I'll see you guys maybe later tonight, maybe tomorrow. Definitely not tomorrow. But go to the Discord and post some stuff. We'll get this deck brewed eventually, and it'll be great. All right, I'll see you guys.